So the first question is, how did you become a non-feminist woman?
Feminists tend to try to blame men for everything. And, and it's kind of a 50-50 deal. So I'm anti anything that's, biased to anybody. So.
Okay, so you feel that feminism is biased against men.
Yeah, it didn't originally wasn't, but it's evolved into that.
Okay.
It's gotten more toxic.
Okay, so
as time goes on.
So if you would have to change feminism into something that you would be able to align with, what would you do? What would you change?
Well, I guess the first thing I would change would be not to normalize abusing men.
Right.
That seems to be the thing to do these days. Mm-hmm. And making them understand that just being a woman doesn't mean you don't have to work or do anything, and because that's what you see a lot of, and you should be taking care of me, and, and
okay. Okay. Do you believe that we live in a patriarchy in the West?
Well, it's kind of a power struggle right now. Right. There's a group that's like hanging desperately to the patriarchy,
right?
And then there's the other side that's fighting viciously against it,
right?
But nobody wants to find in the middle.
Okay, so you would say the people who are hanging desperately to the patriarchy, these are who? Religious people or the right wings?
Right wing, and which are, generally speaking, religious people.
Okay. So the patriarchy, you would define it as like the church, or how would you define the patriarchy?
Church, religious overzealousm.
Yeah. So there is
evangelical Christianity. Yeah.
Right. So there is some patriarchal. There are some patriarchal elements of society.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Do you agree that feminism should fight the patriarchy, or how do you think we should approach this?
Well, you do need to fight for things. If people are violating your rights, yeah, you do need to fight.
Right.
But don't pick a fight.
Yeah.
And it's more important to try to live together and work together.
Right.
But we have to fight for reproductive rights. We have, and things like that, and contraception and things that they're trying to take away now.
Right. Okay. So and the feminists are generally fighting for these things. So this is an important fight.
Oh yeah.
But they just need to stop attacking men, you would say.
Yeah, because there's plenty of bad ones out there, absolutely. But the good ones are getting paying for all the sins of those bad ones. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. What are your thoughts on traditional gender roles?
They don't always work. Mm-hmm. It depends on the people. I think if you're in a couple, each person should do what they're strongest at doing.
Right.
Maybe he can change his tire because then she can do the dishes. Things like that.
Right.
Whatever works.
Right.
It doesn't matter for male or female.
Right. So if he likes to cook, then he should do the cooking. And if she likes to, I don't know, fix cars.
If she wants to cut the lawn, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Why not?
So you don't need a formula. Okay.
No. Because life doesn't work that way.
Right.
There's no
people just have to adjust and do what works for them as individuals. Okay. What are your thoughts on men's rights activists?
Well, I do think they need one though. They need them. That's necessary now because, because the pendulum's swung pretty far the other way. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of women out there that don't think twice about making false accusations or alienating a father because they don't want to be with them anymore, or another pet peeve of mine, they feel free to hit a guy knowing that he's expected not to hit back.
Right.
Those kind of things.
What is your opinion on intersectionality? Okay, so do you agree that, let's say, that people who are white have privilege, that men have more privilege, and so on? Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely there is white privilege and that people want to, and I just don't understand how people want to argue that there's not. But and I maybe at one point there was male privilege, but I don't see it as much anymore.
Right. Okay. So you think we came from a society where men did have privilege historically, right? In, let's say, traditional society, but now that society has changed a lot, you don't see the privilege that men have. So intersectionality could be true for LGBTQ people and for let's say black, but it's not necessarily true when we talk about gender.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what is your opinion on, have you ever been called a pick-me girl?
I have. It's just another way is, to me, it's usually, the woman saying that they're jealous or whatever, competing with you.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I said, I've been chosen a long time ago. I just don't, I just have to think he was right and you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not trying to get anybody to pick me.
You're right. Okay. And, okay, so what do you think are the biggest issues that face men today?
Well, men make up the higher suicide rate. They're being alienated from their children by their maybe mothers are being taken advantage of financially.
Right.
And and it's still like things like if a woman's abused, she can seek help. Right. But a man doesn't have that same feeling.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel safe to do that,
Right. Do you have any stories of someone that you may know or in your life or so who experienced something that you would say is related to our feminist culture? Let's say maybe a man who experienced some hardship that shows that men maybe don't have as much power as feminists might say, or is there any kind of story that made you think, feminism is not necessarily correct?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think of a clear example. Well, I've seen plenty of women my age group that keep having kid after kid for a paycheck. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, but, she's now been given permission by society that she has the right to do anything she wants to do. Mm-hmm. He's still got the responsibilities with them, Mm-hmm. And that's one thing. I mean, and you see, it's like misandry everywhere, because, again, women getting physically aggressive with men, and because they're expected to take it, and they wouldn't do it to another woman. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So if you have to speak from your heart on your views on feminism, what would you describe your views on feminism as? How would you describe your views on feminism?
Well, pretty much just fair and equal treatment. Everybody's, but like I said, it's gone so far.
Right. Okay, so you would describe yourself as an equalist.
Yeah, that'd be a good word.
Right, a gender equalist. You are a humanist, a gender equalist, a egalitarian, but not a feminist, because you don't see the reason to focus only on women's problems. You would just focus on everyone's problems.
Well, yeah, because, we can't, people don't realize we need each other, or there is no, or then there is no future for it.
Right. Women and men are codependent. Men have to do well for women to do well. Everybody has to do well.
Yeah.
So we have to focus on their problems and on our problems, right? In order to have a good and safe society. Yeah.
Yeah. And all those women that years ago were saying, "Well, I don't need a man," and everything, and raise, and then raise up their kids out single intentionally, and then you saw the fallout later.
Right.
When the kids growing up without their father.
Right, because fathers are necessary, and it just it takes more people. The more people that are involved in helping a child grow, the better for the child. So why exclude men?
No, I know, and and that especially, I mean, that's where kids pick up their role models from same sex parents too. So a little girl is going to learn about how be treated by men by her father, and the boy's going to learn how to be a man for his father. So this is necessary. It's not,
Right. So it's necessary for society to care about men and include them in the family, and not, have this idea that women don't need men. Women need men. Everybody needs men. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Just like everybody needs women.
Yeah, I don't condemn single mothers when things happen.
No. I agree. If you're a single mother or a single father, things happen.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you. I think your life is harder, and I actually think society needs to support these people as much as they can.
Oh, yeah.
Realize they have a harder life. Let's support them. But at the same time, you could say it's not a good idea to have a movement that sort of encourages people to just say the other sex is not necessary. We don't need men.
Yeah. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's better to say we need each other, and everybody's help is good, right? Like if a child has two parents, it's better than one. So
yeah, absolutely.
The more the merrier. That's like
it's really beneficial for kids to have that extended family, that then they feel safer out in the world because they know other people. That mom loved me,
and
and safer, and they're more confident,
right.
And what always kind of bothers me is it's so hard. I feel like the family courts are kind of unbalanced. Mm-hmm. They just want to automatically give the custody to the mother, and even if the father is actively pursuing and is more capable, they still want insist on. It's really it's just too. It just seems like they're putting the parent needs for the kids.
Right.
That's what I see.
Right. So I understand your view. What are your thoughts on male reproductive rights? So if women, you said before that you believe women need the right to abort, which is important for women. Do you think that men should have a right to opt out of parenthood or not? They would have the right to give up a child for adoption, but men don't have the right to say, I don't want to be your father.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because, they should have the right to, once it's found out that there's a pregnancy, he should have the right to sign out of it.
Right.
This is not what I'm, and especially, like you told me you were on birth control. You lied.
Right.
Or you did it on purpose to try. And this is not what I planned, and it's your it's your choice.
Right.
But so you have to. But now it doesn't mean you can stick me for 18 years.
Right.
I get it.
It's so, but it's also tricky because then the child has no parents. So there are two sides.
I know.
But yeah.
I know, but but if he doesn't want to be, realistically, if he doesn't want to be the father of the kid anyway, he's not going to.
Right, and he's probably not going to be a good father. So it makes sense that she find somebody else, or or that it just makes sense for her to find someone else, probably. Or maybe the state could help. I always think maybe like the government could support single mothers or something. I don't know. But I don't know.
What? Yeah, well, there are resources for women. I did want to say that, but and you don't find them so much for men.
Right.
Yeah. I know that's true.
Yeah. So that's true. So what would you say to the idea that the world is like easier for women, that women get more sympathy? Is there a sympathy gap between men and women? Do people feel more sorry for women, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you see this sort of gap.
Huh?
You see this sympathy gap. You think,
yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I have it. Oh, okay. What do you think about hypergamy? The idea that women choose men based on how rich or wealthy or how much social. But is it happen or no? Do you think it's something that women do, or is this just a fantasy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They do, and that's one of the things that make me sick too.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah. So so you are basically you're an egalitarian, equalist, anti-feminist.
Sure.
So for you, and I agree with this is a very valid point. The thing is, feminism is called feminism, so they're focusing on women's problems, and
I know.
they say that they care about like language, they care about. When we talk about LGBTQ people and trans people, you say to use the right pronouns. This is right. You use the right pronouns because you want to make people feel comfortable. So they also have to consider men in their movement and try to make men feel comfortable. To make men feel comfortable to be a part of the movement, it means you have to rename your movement to something that is gender neutral, like gender equalist, humanist, egalitarian, Equalist. These are all names that you could use to say that you want equality, rather than you want gender equality, then you're a gender equalist. You don't have to name it feminism, which excludes men, and it sort of says men have more privilege, they are oppressors, or that the women have it worse. But actually, it's just more complicated. Women have things worse here, but men have things worse here. And, it's all a big mess, and we have to just sort it out,
Yeah, like I would say, it's not a matter of one being superior to the other. It's not good, better, or worse. It's just different.
Right.
There's, different things.
Right. There's also the other point that men and women are not exactly the same. So when we ask for equality, it becomes difficult because men and women, being different, might actually just make different choices. Because women might be more inclined to do this and men might be more inclined to do this. So we cannot ask for actual equality, or we can.
I know. Yeah. Like when a woman says equality, though, the first thing here is, okay, then when you register for the draft, then.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
Like,
Right, because they'll say that's equality. You have to register for the draft, but then,
stuff like that. But it's really, I don't see it that way. It's because
it's about equality and value, really.
It's equal value.
It's equal value. It should just be that both have the same amount of respect or worth in society.
Exactly.
That society doesn't think, you don't have value. It should be that everybody has value. And this is a problem with feminism because they kind of say that men don't have value. They say they don't need men, that a woman doesn't need a man and stuff. But the thing is, the men do have value. They have equal value. Yeah. They have value in the home equally. They have value in the world. It should be an equal value thing. Yeah. And I understand probably historically women faced issues with the valuing of their role.
Oh, yeah.
Because women historically had a role that had to do with childcare, and I think, no one would have valued this because, you had to do it. There was no choice, and everybody could do it,
Yeah.
So women were not valued. But now we have flipped it. With feminism, they kind of flip it, and they flip it too much. It should just be both have value. Yeah. So those are the questions, but we can just talk about feminism, your thoughts. You can just tell me anything you want to talk about. Do you want to talk about anything in particular with respect to feminism?
No, just kind of like, once again, what started out as a positive thing,
right?
Went way too far and blew up in the face. Yeah, and and I do believe, like you said, it just needs to be inclusive. You need to have something that's not restricted just to women and men, because it's both that make the world work.
Right.
The world doesn't go without both of them.
Right.
And a lot of women I think in my age group a lot, grew up like thinking it's okay to take advantage of and use and abuse men.
Right.
And like if you look at social media, they're not being corrected; they're being applauded.
Right. Sometimes in these feminist groups, they're being applauded, and that is also because a lot of them have been hurt by men. So there's this sort of rift between the genders. They got hurt,
I know.
And then they say, okay, well, I was hurt by a man, so therefore men are bad. But then men are also hurt by women, so then they go online and say women are bad, and it's just like everybody's saying they're bad. But the truth is, like, you've been hurt, but it doesn't mean all of men are bad or all of women are bad.
No.
Yeah, it's just that the woman or men you met were bad, or something went wrong in the relationship. It's difficult to say what happened, but that's a problem. Yeah.
But you can't take it out on the next one.
Right. But they're being applauded in their own groups because they just go to this group where almost everybody has been hurt. So all the people are just saying, yeah, you're right. All the men are bad because we've all been hurt,
Yeah.
But the truth is...
Again, we all have.
Right. We all have been hurt in some way. But the truth is, like, there are also people out there who don't dislike men because they haven't been hurt as much, because maybe they didn't meet those men.
Well, I guess. Well, there are lucky people out there, I suppose. But
right.
I know, like, speaking for myself, I mean, it's not that I've encountered those men, trust me.
Right.
But, I managed to get past it. And, like, for every bad one, there's 2 or 3 good ones you find. So,
Yeah.
That's what I look at it.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. I haven't interacted with men so much that I have met these bad men, really. I have a kind of quiet life. Yeah. But I feel that a lot of feminists have met bad men and have met many bad men, and they have had trauma in their lives in terms of assault and so on in their lives.
Well, likewise, but
so then they meet other women who also have this assault, and then they just say, "Oh, they're all bad,"
Right.
But I think this is it's a bad conclusion, because I don't think all women have met bad men. I mean, personally, I really haven't met. I'm not saying that bad men don't exist. I really do believe and understand that they exist. It's just that I haven't met them.
Because you aren't drawing them.
No, because I'm not interacting with a lot of men. I got married very young, and the only man who I know is my husband.
Yeah, and men like that are like people, but men like that are predatory, like in nature, and they know who's vulnerable. And you're confident enough that they're not going to try to go after you like that.
Maybe
they're gonna pick somebody else that's easier target, like a bully does.
Okay, yeah, it can be. Also, so this is also something that could be happening to I mean, this is what I see in feminist groups, and a lot of them say they've been assaulted from since they were really young.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So this is a theme. And this causes, I think this causes their idea on men and life and to change, to be...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I've experienced abuse from women and men.
Right,
so, I mean, it's kind of like so I don't have any blinders either way. I know there's good and bad in both.
Right.
But
Right. So that's what they need to see that actually it's not about the men. It's just that they had a problem with in their lives, and that's bad, and I feel bad for them. But it's just this is their personal problem, you know.
Yeah, and when I notice things, if I have a pattern of something, I keep doing it, things keep going wrong. I realize, well, it's not the rest of the world. It might be me.
Right.
And then, then you go to, and then you got to work on that. And so maybe it's not all the men. Maybe you need to work some things out before you worry about it.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. So I see this as well. For me, it is so. I understand your view, and your view is very valid. That basically feminism is not bad because it is an equalist movement. But if they want to be equalist, they have to include men.
Oh yeah.
That's the important thing.
Yeah. You agree?
And feminists therefore need to change their name from feminist to gender equalist, and that would be the end of this would be the end of the discussion. It would be I'm a gender equalist. No one can complain with people who say they're gender equalist. They want equality. That is important. Okay.
Somebody will find a way.
Well, okay, yes. Some people will say that men and women are not equal. That is true. But the thing is, that is a choice. If you don't want to be equal to your husband or wife or whoever, then you can do that. But it has to be that society allows people who want to be equal to be equal. As long as we have a choice, then everything is okay. For me personally, I don't see men and women as the same because
they're not the same. No.
Yeah, I don't see them as the same. So I think women will always make different. For example, you might have more women going into teaching. You might have more women going into early childhood care or whatever. Women will make those choices. Men will make those other choices, and that's okay.
Yes. I just had a discussion like that with a guy who said, well, women shouldn't work anyways, or whatever. I said, well, what do you mean? Number one, these days, it takes 2 paychecks to run a household.
Right.
Number two, who does out most of the social work jobs?
Right.
Who teaches kindergarten?
Right, and this is an undervaluing
who are all your nurses?
Right, and this is undervaluing of women when people think that women shouldn't work. The truth is, women always worked, and their work was important. The work in nursing, the work in childcare, the work in social work. It's important work. It might not be paid as much as other work because the other work is maybe it's
more dangerous.
It's more dangerous. Maybe it has more importance. It brings more wealth to the community and stuff like this. But the work that women do is really also important. It's equally as important because it also you raise children who can become contributing members of society. Yeah. So no, and I think women always work. This is a problem and a misconception that people have, that they think women were not working. I think women were always working. Maybe they didn't get paid, but they did work.
No, and they went back in World War II to factories and working there.
Right. And before then as well, they were working. It's just that even if you don't get paid for work, it's real work, I think.
Yeah.
Childcare.
Well, even thinking about it now, even before my grandmother had children, my mother and my uncle, she worked at Red Cross America.
Right.
So she had a job, and
Right. And I think even if you don't have a job, taking care of children in the home, this is work.
Oh yeah.
So it's just that women's work is not always recognized as work, but it doesn't mean it's not work.
Yeah.
So women definitely should be working as long as they can, and because it's a healthy thing to work and contribute. Everybody wants to contribute. I think everybody just needs to have respect for everybody with whatever choices they choose. Yeah.
Because it does make a huge difference with your self-esteem and your self-worth.
Right.
If you are working, contributing, and vital.
Right. Yes.
And it's better than being trapped in the house.
Right.
interaction with other people your own age.
Exactly. Interaction with other people is important. Also, to feel like you could contribute, to feel that you are like independent in a sense, not totally, but that you can do some things for yourself, and that you are useful within the relationship, that you contribute enough, and so on. So I think I can't imagine a world in which women are not working. I can't imagine a time in which women are not working. I feel like
that was an absurd thing.
Yeah. I feel like women have always worked, but at the same time, I think women should be allowed to stay at home with their children if they want to, in a sense. Not allowed, but I mean, I think society needs to show respect for this role.
We shouldn't look down on it. Yeah,
right. So I think society should be able to see this role as equal to other roles in society. So it should be equal. But of course, the reality is that we don't see any role as equal, because people still look down on cleaners. People look down on people who do like lower jobs, you know? But this is the problem. The problem is that we need to recognize that all jobs are important, that somebody cleaning is a valid thing. Somebody doing any job is valid and has value. And that includes mothers who stay at home.
Yeah, I'm just, the only thing I'm concerned there is economically. That's really, for most people, that's not feasible.
Right, okay, that's true. Okay, so that's another issue, But
I don't know how you're in the UK.
No, right? I am in Belgium, and yes, I stayed at home. But I'm in Belgium. But I didn't live in Belgium when I stayed at home. But I stayed at home and took care of my kids, and I'm still at home. And it's true that economically, I suppose we are fortunate. So, but it's true, economically, people can't afford it, and that's fine. Yeah. I understand that. That's another problem. But I think if you can afford it, then you should still be able to do it and feel that you have worth. You know?
Yeah.
But I agree that most people economically can't make that choice.
At least, you know, I mean, even if you were, you could be home and work part-time remote.
Right. Okay, I agree with that too. Yeah. I also think women need to work part-time, because after the children are in school, then you're going to want to work again. And then if you have nothing to go back to, then you have a problem. So that's also true. So you need to do something that, like, either a job, like a business, or part-time or something.
Oh,
yeah. But I see that all as the traditional role of women, to me. Because I think that in the past, women always worked.
Especially, and then definitely I agree that, having a house full of kids and, and a husband to take care of after, because he's been working, I know I keep moving my hand, who works so hard. That's a handful. I know that's a lot of work.
Right. So for me, I think in the past, they just didn't have...
Take it for granted.
Yeah, they were taking for granted, one. And two, like, it's like the traditional role of, like, in the past, let's say they were living on farms, and the woman would have taken care of the kids more, but whenever she had time, she helped out on the farm. When the kids got older, then she would have helped a bit more. So that was her work. If he had a business or a small business, then she would have helped a little bit. And when the kids are older, then she helps more. So I think nowadays we don't have farms, we don't have family businesses, we don't have this old traditional life. So what we have is just going out to work. So obviously women are going to go out to work. It's just that they're probably going to go out to work a little bit less than men. And when she has the kids in school, when they're older, then she's going to work more, like that. So I think for sure women are going to work, and that's not traditional. It's just that the traditional part comes in if you care more, if you are more with the kids than him in that way. That to me is the traditional breakdown. But I know everybody sees it different, Yeah. Okay, well, I have 1 more minute of time, so that's pretty much the end of the interview. But if you have anything else to say in the minute, you can tell me. Yeah.
No, I pretty much said my piece.
All right. I really appreciate that you interviewed. Thanks a lot,
You are more than welcome anytime.